welcome to NEMC TV6's Memphis School Board Election Special. We reached out to all the school board candidates this year for 2020 and asked them to come in and talk to us about their plans for the future and where they see the district going. And we were able to sit down with 5 of them, and we're going to try to get some questions out of them and give you a look at each person as much as we possibly can. So let's see. All right, so here we go. We got our first interview for the Memphis School Board elections. I'm here with my friend Nancy Thompson. Nancy, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And welcome to Channel 6. Well, let's get right into it. So why do you feel you are qualified or a good fit to be a board member on the Memphis School Board?
Well, my entire background has been pretty much in education and mainly at Memphis Community Schools. I went to Western Michigan University. I did get in special education was my main focus at that time. Went back, did get a master's in early elementary and curriculum development, and started out as a teacher in Memphis. Did that for several years. Went on to become principal. Went on to become superintendent. Retired 4 years ago after 40 years in Memphis Community Schools. So I pretty much know most of the ins and the outs of Memphis School District. I had 2 children that attended Memphis, both graduated and have gone on in their lives. One is a doctor of microbiology down at University of Detroit Mercy, and the other is an engineer working out of state right now. So basically, Memphis Schools is in my blood.
So what do you see as the major successes for Memphis Schools?
I think Memphis Schools has a lot to offer families. We have strong teachers that really care about students. We have great technology. We have a technology director that really wants to make sure that we have, even though we're a small district, the best for the kids in that field. We have up-to-date buildings, and we have a strong community to support us.
That always helps, doesn't it?
It always helps.
Community is great to be part of.
Wonderful community.
So what do you see as the major problems facing the school district?
I think that funding always becomes a problem. If we have a drop in student enrollment, that always affects the funding that you get. I think that current situations have required additional funding to go in other directions. I think that we also have health measures, safety measures that have to be put into place that are going to be something that will cost more. So loss of students funding, and the biggest one I think right now is that with the pandemic, the focus was off of education, and we have a lot of gaps that have to be filled. We have a lot of students that may not have had the learning opportunities. They were gone for quite a few months, and we have to be able to help them gain those months back and meet them at the door and take them to as far as we can.
Yeah, it's hard to get back to the time that you've lost, isn't it?
It is hard to get back, and I mean, you figure the learning loss could be great, for some students that may not have had equal opportunities during the time that we were off to learn.
So what do you feel is the major role of a school board member?
Well, I think it's a school board member has to be part of a team, and they're the leadership team for a district, and that you cannot have personal agendas. You have to have, in my case, it would be the mindset of what's best for kids, and what's best for kids becomes probably what's best for parents and for teachers. We have to support all of them, and you are overlooking the funding, you are overlooking the rules and procedures and policies. So the school board member is an oversight, it's not a micromanager, and I think we have to make sure that we are giving the tools and leading the district to have goals and become better every day.
How can the school board and the school district help kids with the whole COVID pandemic, getting through it and making sure that they're not missing something and getting to a point where something that's been missed, like we just talked about, that it's hard to go back? And how does Memphis help these kids with this challenge?
Well, I think it's very important that we are helping students to alleviate their fears. One of the first things is they're coming into law is now stating students have to wear masks, and it's not an option. It's not something that we can do or not do. So the school board has set down the policies and the procedures to reopen, and for health and safety measures, they have to wear masks. So I think we have to gently explain to them why, let them know why, and help remind them that we need to do this. I also think that the schools have to be sure that we are cleaning. We have the personnel to clean, keep the buildings safe, and that's going to be a little bit more than we've ever done in the past, and that would be there. I think during these times we have to be looking at financially with families, and are there things that we can help them with, if with loss of jobs, with different things that have affected families, whether it be sickness or other situations. We need to be on the lookout for that to try to give them help in any way we could for that. And finally, I think we need to be aware of the mental stress that it could, sick parents, death, any of the other things that are affecting, students at this point in time.
Sure.
We need to give that emotional support. So physical support in cleanliness, emotional support for their feelings and their fears, and then at the same time continue the educational process.
So how would you help build positive relationships between the stakeholders and the school and the community?
I think we have to listen to each other. I think that we need to make sure that we are trying to problem solve in a way that meets the needs of all parties. I can't, right now I think that we have a very divided community, and that's not going to help, that we need to work together towards common goals to make the schools better. I think we need to really listen to the teachers to find out what they need to do, what we're asking them to do, and make sure that we are providing the resources for them to do that. I think we need to listen to the parents, because if we develop ongoing two-way communication, then we're listening to what they're saying, responding, and they're responding back to us, then we can take care of things when they're small. We do not have to let them build. And that by listening and coming up with a plan, there's a program called Restorative Justice where both leave with a win-win situation. And if we were to attack any concerns or problems to where we're not having winners and losers, but we're all winning, then it's going to be a much more pleasant place to be at any time.
Absolutely. So unlike years in the past, we have a lot of candidates running for positions this year. Why should voters pick you?
Well, I think that I have the skill set necessary to be, of person giving input and helping to make decisions that are, leading the district. I've also been in probably every job or location except for a school bus. I have not driven a school bus.
Really?
I have not.
Okay.
And those school bus drivers are angels, in my opinion. I would not go in a tin box with my back, to all of those students. And no, they're angels. So I haven't done that, but I'm dedicated. I have spent my life working for Memphis schools many, many hours, and I think that I can give back to them and help to make sure that we have extracurricular activities, we have good academic programs, we have opportunities for students to become the best that they could be, and we have administrators working with teachers, teachers working with students, and everybody working with parents to make it a wonderful school district.
I just thought of a question I wanted to ask you about. I know you discussed all the things you've done with the school. What about other things in the community? What sort of other things have you been involved in?
Many years ago, I started the soccer program in Memphis, and I still to this day work with AYSO Soccer on the area staff. I'm a part of the local Lions Club, so I really enjoy working with a fine group of individuals there and serving the community.
That's always fun, isn't it?
Yeah. It is a great place.
Absolutely.
And I have been involved with, just a lot of help groups for the community and families that need help.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, or anything I forgot to mention?
No, other than the fact that I'm very, very dedicated to Memphis schools. I think people that know me and have seen me know that I am definitely someone that's there for the kids and we'll do anything to help make it a great place.
Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about the election, and
You're welcome.
look forward to seeing you again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Welcome back, and we're going to continue on with our interviews with our school board candidates. I have with me my friend Chris Perret. Chris, thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks for inviting me.
And welcome. I'm glad you could come in and give us some info on yourself and talk to the people about the upcoming election and what you think needs to be done here in the future. So let's get right into it. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, your experience, and your connection to the Memphis schools?
Okay. A lot of you already know me as Chris Perret. I moved to Memphis 26 years ago, right after I graduated with my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. All within the same week, I married my wife, who was a graduate at Memphis. Married my wife, bought my house, and started my career in engineering.
It's a good week.
So, it was hectic. So for the past 26 years, during that time, I went on. Education's important. I went on for my master's in mechanical engineering, as well as attaining my professional engineering license for the state. So as far as the school itself, my wife and I are raising 3 daughters. So they've been attending Memphis. The first 2 have graduated. They're on to Michigan State. The youngest, she's currently in high school right now. And as far as the community itself, involved in various organizations such as the Lions Club, anything that can give back to the area.
Okay. And how have you been involved in the Memphis schools in the community?
Well, as soon as my daughter started going to school, we were active with all the teachers, checking what's going on. They immediately signed up for a chess club, and I thought it was a little young, but they took a liking to it. I was afraid to say the coach moved away and it left a vacancy, so I didn't know I was a coach, but I could play chess, so I started coaching the team for 6 years. We went to states. We had a lot of good students go through, and I've heard feedback coming back from college on some of their better experience. As my daughters grew, I kept in the STEM area, and my daughter started in bridge building competitions, and later the Michigan Department of Transportation started their own strength to weight competition, which is still ongoing right now. Afraid that was postponed with the pandemic, but we still have a couple of teams in Memphis that are pushing forward.
Okay. So in your opinion, how can Memphis help students with the challenges that they're facing with the COVID pandemic?
I think number one is we've got to show great rigor on all our cleaning procedures, our hygiene. We need to make it second nature. So when we're out there doing it and it doesn't look obscure, people get used to it, their anxiety goes down. We need to show rigor and keep it going, because we still have students that are learning at home. So that we still have people at risk throughout the community that can't come back to in-person teaching yet. So we're trying to keep that down as best we can. So number one, keep the procedures up. We can keep enhancing them as we find changes we can improve upon.
Okay.
And then 2 is we are a small district. So we have teachers, bus drivers, the cafeteria people. They see these kids every day. If there's a change, if they see somebody's at risk, they can reach out to them. They can talk to them. They're people. We all need feedback.
Sure. So what other challenges are facing the school district?
Well, funding's always remained top of our list for quite some time, and the pandemic still hit us with costs for both labor, cleaning. They're things we just had to take in, and as we continue to look at those procedures, it may go up. We're not sure. So even though we need to watch out for items like that, we still need to develop things like technology. So we did a great job launching the virtual learning, but there's still enhancements that can be made. People are talking when they have difficulty with internet connections, how can we improve those? If people don't have a computer at home, make sure we have those available so they can log on and continue their learning.
Okay. So what are the strengths that Memphis Community Schools offer students?
Well, number one is it is the small school. So when you go to Memphis, the principals know every student's name. So they come in, they're saying hi as they come in, and they know when things go on. The teachers and the staff themselves, they see the kids every day, so they know if there's a change. So it's important to watch kids as they grow, and if there's a change because something's at home, financially, or classes are showing a roadblock to them, and that's our chance to jump in and develop individual plans for the kids.
Okay. So what makes a successful school district?
You know, number one, we're trying to make, you got to challenge the kids. You need to make them so that they can become more than they thought they could. You know, we're trying to develop people so they can be, you know, be giving to the community themselves. In order to make that happen, you have to be a welcoming school. You have to be listening. You have to be safe. We need to provide all those opportunities.
Okay. So how would you help build a positive relationship between the teachers, the students, and the community?
I'd start off, we had our first workshop this spring, which brought the teachers, we brought students in, we brought the administration, and anybody else in the community that wanted to have a voice to find out how we can change and make the path forward. We were delayed a little with COVID, priorities shifted, but we need to get back onto that path. So communication is key. So you need to be able to listen. You can't come in with predetermined notions. You have to listen and have an open mind. You have to be willing to make changes, and then you need to roll out.
So in the past years, I know that around Memphis, it's been a hard task to actually get people to run for city council and different things, planning commission, and the school board. I think, anyways, I'm not sure. This year, obviously, we have quite a few people who are interested in running. So what makes you stand out, and why should people pick you and vote for you?
Well, you're right. We have had problems getting people on the school board in the past. When I joined, it was 8 years ago. There was an opening on the board. It was an immediate opening, came into place, and nobody had stepped forward. I approached the board and said, I think I have positive energy, I have background, and I'd like to participate. So I came in, I was appointed to the board at the time, and even the next session came up, it was unopposed because there wasn't anybody showing an interest at all. So it has been hard to fill it. I think we're lucky that we're getting people involved. If you're to put any silver lining on the pandemic as it was, we're getting more people involved every day on the school board. I think we were over 90 people on our first March board review. So there's some at least some good on there.
Right.
So I myself, I bring a positive attitude to the board. I still bring in fresh ideas, and I bring that unity to bring people together. I do listen to people when they come to me from different groups, and I allow them to bring that voice to the board, even if they don't want to come forward themselves.
Very good. So is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or mention, or anything that I forgot to bring up about the election or about you?
No, I want everybody to go out and vote this election. Vote for me. I'll bring dignity. I'll bring energy, and we'll bring pride right to Memphis.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop.
Why was the basketball court all wet?
Why?
Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
All right, thank you for sticking around for our next segment. We're actually going to have 3 of our candidates all sitting together, which I think is going to be a neat opportunity for us to see what they're all about. I have with me Susan Durst. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Martin Cook. Thanks, Martin. and Amanda Bobstein. I really appreciate you guys coming in and talking to me and letting people know what you guys are thinking about for the Board of Education election coming up. So my first question for you, Susan, is tell us about yourself, your background, and your connection to the community.
I am a registered nurse. I have a master's degree in administration. I am retired. I spent 43 years with McLaren Macomb, starting as a staff nurse in the ER. Went through progressive leadership positions. I retired as the CNO, or Chief Nursing Officer, at the hospital. I have been a Richmond Township resident for 25 years. I recently moved down the road, if you will, and I'm now in the Memphis School District. So I've been in the Memphis District for the last 3 years, still in Richmond Township. I have 3 grandsons who recently graduated from Memphis High School, and they have spent their entire educational experience at Memphis. I also have grandchildren currently in high school and in the elementary school. I am filling a vacant 1-year position on the Memphis Board of Education right now, and my term will be up this year. And so I'm running for a 2-year, what they call a partial position.
All right, thank you. Martin, why don't you tell us about yourself and your experience and your connection to the community?
Thanks, Eric. My name is Martin Cook. I have lived in the Memphis School District in the Memphis area for over 30 years with my wife, Chris, and our 2 children, Alyssa and Grace, both of whom graduated from Memphis, continued on to Blue Water Middle College, where they received their associate's degrees, and are both currently at Northern Michigan University pursuing teaching degrees. I graduated from a small school in central France back in the late 80s, went on to lead Starbucks Coffee Company as Regional Director of Operations, operating all of the Starbucks Coffee Company stores within Michigan, Northern Ohio. I'm presently the president of CRDN, a leading textile, electronics, and art restoration company based out of Huntington Woods. I've served on the Memphis Volunteer Fire Department for 15 years, as an elder at St. Andrew Lutheran Church for many, many years. I am a former member of Crossroads of Michigan's Board of Trustees. It's a local social service organization serving the needy of Detroit and the suburbs. And I'm an over 40-year volunteer with Michigan Special Olympics, serving in the capacity for the last 25 or so years as a member of the Games Committee for the State Winter Games.
Thank you. Okay, Amanda, same question. Why don't you tell us about yourself, your experience, and your connection to the community?
Hi, I'm Amanda Bobstein. I've been in the Memphis School District for over 20 years. Myself and my husband graduated from Memphis in 2003. Both of our children currently attend Memphis. I have my daughter Ella's in 4th grade, and my son Bo is a kindergartner. My children will be the 5th generation to graduate from Memphis on my side of the family and 4th generation on my husband's side. I come from a line of educators from my family who actually were all educators in Memphis, ranging from superintendent, principal, teachers, teachers' aides. So we have really deep connection to the Memphis School District. Currently, I volunteer on the board for a Memphis Youth Baseball Softball Organization, the MYBSO. My husband is currently the president of the program also. I've also volunteered for ASO, coached a couple teams with them, and I am a member of the Memphis Free Methodist Church.
Thank you. Okay, Susan, back to you. If elected, what changes, if any, do you envision taking place during your term?
Programmatically, I'd like to, number one, continue our excellent academics that we have present in the school. That was one of the issues that really impressed me, or programs that impressed me, and it prepares students, our students, for college. I would also like to see some programs that maybe focus on life skills, a look at the skilled trades, career opportunities, looking at professions and occupations for the non-college bound students. On an operational side, I do have an operational background and was appointed the lead on a sub-board committee, which is the Facilities and Grounds Committee. And I think there are a lot of opportunities. I come from a background that's very regulated, so I'm used to a lot of rules and regs spelled out. Everyone knows them, you practice them, and I think there's an opportunity on the operational side to get us to a point where instead of being reactive and looking at equipment that breaks down, issues with the facility, we can plan better, look at some programs that are available, and look at being proactive as opposed to reactive.
Thank you. Same question, Martin. If elected, what changes, if any, do you envision taking place while you're in office?
Thanks, Eric. 2 years ago when I ran and was elected to the school board, I saw some leadership gaps within our school system. And part of my background is building high-performing teams, hiring, training, and retaining excellent talent. I believe that the changes that need to occur within the Memphis community school system and its administration as we continue down into the future over the next 6 years, we need to look at our entire administration and whether it supports the growth or lack thereof of our student base, and make whatever changes are necessary to achieve what we need for our students and for our parents and for our community, regardless of position.
Thank you. Okay, Amanda, same question. If elected, what changes, if any, do you envision taking place during your term?
Changes that I really see that I would like to take place is opportunities for our students. I think there is definitely an area there that we can improve on. Like Susan said, we have these programs that get students to college, and that's great, but not all student is a college-bound student. And I think with the size of our district, we have Tech and Blue Water College, it's great. We only have so many seats, which is understandable how they're slotted. I understand that. But we have to think more into providing opportunities for all these students. There's more students who are interested into trades now than I think they were 20 years ago. I think 20 years ago, it's like you go to college after high school and that's it. And now there's more of a need for trades, and there's a push for trades, and there's a lot of kids more interested in trades, and we need to get those opportunities available for them. We need to create co-ops, and we have such a great community in Memphis that this is a great time to bring in that community and create these opportunities for the students. And I think that should be a big thing that we need to focus on, and not just the college-bound students, but what about the rest of the students? Where do they go after Memphis High School? After they graduate, what's next for them? Are we giving them all the opportunities that we can possibly come with? And I don't think at this time we're not. I think we can do more.
Okay, thank you. All right, Susan, back to you. What is your number one priority for students and their education?
I believe that every student, we need to assure that every student reaches their fullest or maximum potential.
All right, thank you. Martin, same question. What is your number one priority for students and their education?
Thanks, Eric. To piggyback a little bit on what Amanda said earlier, and that is giving our students alternatives to college. Now, I say that both of my children, as I said earlier, are attending Northern Michigan to become teachers. I come from a family of teachers. My mother and father both were teachers and college professors. And so I don't want to discount college, because college is very, very important for many. However, there are other paths, and we owe it to our students to expose them to other opportunities. This is part of our strategic plan. So far, we have not been able to, within Memphis schools, add anything additional. And although we are going through unprecedented times, as everyone knows, this is the time to strike. This is the time to market ourselves as an innovator and a school system that's adding while others may be subtracting. It's going to be difficult. We're going to have to ask for help. But I believe we can provide other opportunities for students that aren't college bound to help them get a jump start on their careers.
All right, thank you. Okay, Amanda, same question. What is your number one priority for students and their education?
My number one priority, I think, for the students would be that we're creating an environment where kids are able to reach their full potential, like Susan said. I think if one kid gets left behind, that's one kid too many. If we fail one kid, that's one kid too many. I feel like if we fail one kid, then we failed as a district. It's not okay for just, we'll say, well, the majority of them did great. We had a couple here that we weren't able to help. That's not okay. We're here to provide to all the students, and I think that we need to really focus on that. Our special education program, I think that we really need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to have these kids, like Susan said, reach their maximum potential. Every student is not going to head down this path. Some kids are going to swerve off to the side, and we got to make sure that we are providing them the best experience, the best education, and the best opportunities that we can to help them reach who they are supposed to be, their maximum potential for all the students. So I think the biggest thing is, I know Michigan has this No Child Left Behind, and that's exactly what it should be. No child should be left behind. We should be providing, making sure every child is where they need to be, regardless of what disabilities that they have or what setbacks that they may need. We need to make sure that every child is where they need to be and help them get there and provide resources to get them where they need to be.
All right, Susan, back to you. So what is your top priority for the Board of Education?
I believe that as a member of the Board of Education, we need to provide for every student the highest quality education in a safe and healthy environment.
Okay, Martin, same question for you. What is your top priority for the Board of Education?
As school board treasurer, I look at the numbers a lot. I know my counterparts on the board do as well. One of the top priorities for me is our enrollment. Our enrollment has decreased significantly over the past 5 and 10 years. Currently, in the last 5 years, we've lost 100 students. If over the next 2 years we lose just 15 students a year, which is less than our average right now, over 10 years we would have lost over 235 students. Now for me, this is about students, but there is a monetary problem here. We will have to cut, and we can't cut teachers. It's the last thing we should do. We can't cut programs. We have so few programs at our school now. We have an award-winning band. That has to stay. We're already paying to play, so there's not much to cut in athletics. There's nothing left to cut. We've got to look at our enrollment. We've got to look at what other school systems are doing, what our strategic plan calls out. How do we increase our enrollment? Because there are schools nearby whose enrollment is going up. Our enrollment is going down. We've got to get to the root cause of that, identify it, fix it, and move forward. Until those numbers start going up, we are going into oblivion in our student count numbers. We will be under a number that's sustainable for our school system. That is a huge priority for this school board.
Okay, Amanda, what is your top priority for the Board of Education?
As a Board of Education, I think the top priority is to focus back on our strategic plan that we came up with. The board and the community really came together. We came up with this very great plan. I'm very proud of it, the work that we put in as a board, as administrators, as teachers, as a community. Parents all really came together. We worked hard on this. Then COVID happened, and it kind of got put on the back burner. And regardless of pandemic or not, we need to make a safe environment for our students. As a nurse, I understand that, but we also cannot put this on the back burner anymore. This really needs to be on our agenda at every board meeting. Where are we at with our plan? Where are we at with our meeting our 6-month goal, our 1-year goal, our 5-year goal, and make sure that we're staying on top of it so it's not just something on the back burner. Every meeting, it kind of needs to be brought up. Where are we at? What as board members, what can we do to support our administrators so that we're reaching our goals, so that we're hitting our targets, so we're providing the best schools in this area? We need to have those high targets, and that's what the plan came up with. The plan's a great plan, but we need to kind of bring it back now to the front and say, okay, as board members, what can we do to help you? What do we need to do? Where are we at with it? The accountability with it. And I really think as that transparency to the community, that open communication, I think if you have transparency, open communication, accountability, strong leadership, you will have a successful district, hands down, every time. If even one of those 4 are lacking, then I think your district's going to be lacking. And so I really think bringing all that together as board members and looking first kind of as a board, what are we doing? Where are we at? Are we being transparent? Are we having open communication? Are we showing strong leadership as a board? Are we being accountable? Are we holding our administration accountable? Are we holding ourselves accountable? It kind of starts with us. So if we're not doing that, and then it goes down to our administrators, they're not doing that, and then trickles down, then we're not going to have a successful district. So I think it comes back down to kind of evaluating ourselves, focusing on our plan, and getting the district where it needs to be.
All right, thank you. So in closing, Susan, is there anything that you'd like to add or a question that I didn't ask you?
Well, I would like to say that good programs start with good leadership. We need to be able to seriously look at the status quo system and examine every moving part of it, making changes where we need to make changes. We need to be able to make pragmatic, solid decisions. We need to be accountable, as Amanda had said, accountable for our actions, accountable if we don't make an action. We need to be able to communicate. That's clear, two-way communication with leadership, with the parents, with the students, with our staff. I think that if we're open to change and willing to truthfully look at these issues, we can make a dramatic future for the students of Memphis.
All right, thank you. Martin, back to you. Is there anything that you'd like to add or any questions that I didn't ask you?
I chose to run for a full 6-year term this year, not for my children, as you know, graduated from Memphis and have gone on to other schooling and their careers, but for your students and for our community. I live here, I'm not going anywhere, and I have a vested interest in our schools. If you follow our Facebook page, our election or our campaign page, you'll see that I posted a statement that I will not campaign negatively. I believe that negative campaigning in any form is one of the worst things in our political system. I've been called negative by some people. I am a passionate, loud person. It's who Marty Cook is. I speak up when things are not said that are true or things are hidden. I spoke about the Moquita, that which everyone knows but no one speaks of. Over my leadership career, I've made it one of my tenets to expose the Makito when it happens. To talk about those things that maybe are a little uncomfortable. Maybe folks that don't like that type of discourse get nervous about. Their palms get sweaty. Those are the things that, from my leadership shadow, that's what I do. I believe that it makes for a better organization, whether it's a company, a nonprofit, a school system. Anytime you're in a situation, you have two choices. You can go backwards to what you've had before. You can go forward. And I believe that a vote for Susan Durst, Amanda Bobstein, and Martin Cook takes Memphis schools forward, not backward. Thank you.
Okay, Amanda, we'll wrap it up with you. Is there anything that you'd like to say or anything that I forgot to ask you about?
I would like to thank the support that we've gotten together from our people who reached out and support us. Like Martin said, we won't go negative. We won't do that. We have a lot of candidates who bring different things to the table. Looking forward, we all share very similar ideas, and we share very similar plans that need to happen, and that's why we partner together. And if you've listened to the board meetings, you see that, we do call out things, and it's not because we're trying to be negative, and it's uncomfortable when you see something that needs to be fixed. It's uncomfortable. It makes people uncomfortable calling out those changes. But as a parent and as an alumni, I want nothing but the best for not only my children, but for everyone's children. My family, my sister has her kids in this district, my best friends have their kids in this district. I want nothing but the best for all of the students. I coach a lot of the kids in this district. I want nothing but the best for them. And I get that, sometimes it's, oh, they're being negative. It's not that we're being negative, it's that we're trying to move the district forward. And it's uncomfortable for people, and I get that. But you've got to expose what's wrong in order to fix it. We can't keep just, oh, this is status quo, and we'll just keep doing this. That's not always going to work. Times are changing, things are adapting, and we need to adapt with it. So I'm supportive of our administrative. I want nothing but the best for our administrative. I want them to be the best that they can be. Because if we have one administrator that fails, somewhere along the line, a child, a staff, a teacher had to have failed for them to have failed. I don't want that. I don't want that for any of our administrators. Whatever we need to do to help them, that's what we need to do. It shouldn't be a them versus us. It needs to be everybody together at the table and saying, if we see something, we're like, hey, we need to be able to call it out. And we need to be able to have them to have open communication with us. If they need support with us something, then they should be able to come to us and tell us this. This is how we build great schools and great programs and provide great opportunities. But I think it makes people uncomfortable, and some people just like that status quo. And like before, I never had an interest to be on the school board, to be honest. It wasn't until like 2 years ago when I went to a board meeting, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of opportunities here that we can improve on. I lived in my little bubble, and if you live in that little bubble and stay afar, everything looks great. But just because it's great for me in my bubble doesn't mean that's the same experience for everybody else. And I could stay in my little bubble, and I can stay, everything's great for my family at Memphis. But does that really help the community? Does it really make the school great? It doesn't. So it has to be great for everybody. And that's where I think we really are focusing on is everybody. It's great for every teacher, not just some of the teachers. It's great for all the students, not just some of the students. And that's, I think, is a really strong focus on us. But I would like to thank everybody for their support, continued support, and that's it.
Well, I want to thank you, all three of you, Susan, Martin, and Amanda, for coming in here and talking with me about this and let people know how you feel. And I really appreciate it, and I know that a lot of people out there will appreciate this. So I'll be right back, and we'll wrap this thing up. And thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
There's a buzz around Memphis.
The success in the classroom
and our rich music and choir program are leading the way.
By building a sound foundation,
the future looks brighter than ever.
Our softball program,
high jump solid studs,
Our girls basketball program,
shooting for the stars,
our Memphis Athletic Booster program,
a soccer league repeat,
knocking down the competition, cross-country state-bound again,
swinging for the fences,
wrestling district champs
4 years in a row,
small town Friday night lights,
Memphis boys basketball protecting the high,
Memphis bass fishing team, fish on.
Memphis Equestrian, enjoy the ride.
We have a team for you. Come be a part of it.
So there you have it. There's 5 Year 7 candidates for the Memphis School Board this year for 2020. Hopefully we're able to answer some of the questions that you might have about them and their plans. And don't forget to get out there and vote November 3rd. And thanks for joining us. For Channel 6, I'm Eric Schneider, and we'll see you next time.